Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys joining me for today's video. Always appreciate having you guys around here. And guys, today I want to have a little conversation about why bass fishing is the most difficult sport on earth. You hear me talking about this a lot. A lot of people don't realize how tough it is, how difficult it is to actually have success at fishing consistently for a long term. And I just sort of want to point out some of the reasons why it is, and maybe by pointing out some of these reasons, you can address those situations a little bit more, maybe catch some more fish after the end of this video here. Also, guys, for get started, just a couple quick things I'd like to remind everybody of. Anybody interested in booking an on-the-water lesson with me, guys, you can do that by going to my Facebook page, Randy Blaukat Professional Angler, and just shoot me a private message. I do most of my lessons here in Missouri on Stockton and Table Rock Lake, and we cover any technique that you want to learn more about, so I can get you info on that if you just shoot me a private message. And also, guys, quick reminder, I'd like to invite everybody to please check out my Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns. Man, if you guys have never gotten one of these breakdowns, this is a great resource to get some good fishing spots on the favorite lake you have, lake you've never been to before, or even if it's a lake you know a lot about, you're going to get some more information and good spots on it. It's taken me 5 years to build these maps for fishthemoment.com, so I'll put the link in the description here for my lake map breakdowns. And also, if you do get one of the breakdowns, guys, feel free to shoot me a private message on my Facebook page if you have any questions about it, so I really appreciate that. Okay, one of the things you will find out quickly, that bass fishing is the most difficult sport on the earth. And the reason I say that is the sheer number of controlled and uncontrolled variables that you have that determine your success. So let's talk a little bit about the uncontrolled variables. Now, these are the things, just like it says, that you don't really have any control of. And this is even exasperated even more if you're a tournament angler. The uncontrolled variables in a tournament situation are huge, but they are in any situation. So here are some of the examples of an uncontrolled variable. Number one is weather and weather changes. Let's say, for example, that you're fishing out there, you're fishing on a Friday, and it's a partly cloudy day, and everything's stable. You got a 5-mile-an-hour wind, something like that, and you get on a good fish catching pattern. You figured out how to catch fish under those conditions, and then the next day, you have this bad frontal system goes through, and it turns rainy and cloudy and the wind's blowing 20 miles an hour. You know, then everything completely changes. Your whole pattern, your whole technique changes. Or it can be a situation, and this has happened to me a bunch, guys. It's like you'll be fishing and you'll be doing really good one day, and then all of a sudden you get this huge rainstorm that comes in that night. Maybe you get 4 or 5 inches of rain that gets dumped on the lake, and the creek arm that you're fishing or the cove that you're fishing, it turns to chocolate milk overnight. I've had that happen a lot. Or you're fishing during the course of a week and you get a lot of rain in there and the lake comes up 4 or 5 feet. So you got that, the weather conditions that change. Then you have the uncontrolled variable of other anglers, fishing pressure. I can't tell you how many times that I have found a really good spot for a tournament where they're just loaded at, and then I get there the next day and there's a bass club tournament that went out and there's some dude sitting on the spot. Or there's some local guy that's sitting there. Or there's some guy that saw me catching them the day before and he goes there and starts catching them. Or you're fishing an area and somebody starts pulling into you and starts crowding you. So fishing pressure and other anglers are another, huge uncontrolled variable that goes with that. Equipment malfunctions, another uncontrolled variable. This is especially in a tournament situation. The amount of equipment problems that you have potentially can occur that will undermine your success are tons, guys. It's anything from a trolling motor malfunction to a big motor malfunction, pumps, electronics. I'll give you a prime example. Here's what I'm talking about, how I can't stand technology. I was fishing, we had our last tournament of the year. It was up at Lake Champlain. No, excuse me, it was Lake St. Clair. It was our last FLW tournament of the year. I was right on the bubble for making the championship in that tournament. And I'd found a bunch of fish. I found this offshore, like way offshore. I'm talking about 3 or 4 miles offshore. There was this cabbage patch out there that had a load of fish on it. And, I marked it with my GPS unit. This area was probably about as big, half as big as a football field or something. But there's no way that you could line up on it. I found it I was running across the lake just randomly, and I saw it on my locator. So anyway, I'm running out there towards that area the first day of the tournament, and I get about, I'm still about 5 or 6 miles away from it. I'm actually still in the Detroit River running out into Lake St. Clair, and my GPS unit goes down. I had no GPS. I could never find the place, guys. As it turned out, I had a load of fish, a wad of fish found. I never got back to him because the service crew couldn't figure out how to fix my GPS. And I just had to go scrounging around, and I missed the championship by, like, I don't know, 3 places or something like that. So that's an uncontrolled variable. Now, the controlled variables that you're talking about are the things that you really have to take advantage of. These are the things that determine your fishing success that you have complete control over. Now, controlled variables are things like, let me go through the whole range of them. Number one, it's like the type of knots you tie is a controlled variable, the type of line that you use, the size of line that you use, the lure that you use, the lure color, the retrieve, the speed of retrieve, boat positioning, casting angles, the hooks that you use on your baits. All of these things are controlled variables that determine your success. And the thing about this is you have a literal unlimited amount of controlled variables you have to consider, which makes the sport so unbelievably tough. Because let's say, for example, you're plastic worm fishing. Now, the controlled variable that you have to determine on plastic worm fishing is, number one, you got to have the size of the worm. Do they want a 4-inch worm? Do they want a 6-inch worm? Do they want an 8-inch worm? Do they want a 10-inch worm? Do they want a plum? Do they want a June bug? Do they want a black worm? Do they want a red shad? Do they want a green pumpkin? Do they want a watermelon? What profile? Do they want a curly tail? Do they want a straight tail? Do they want a ribbon tail? What size of slip sinker? Does that worm require an 1/8 ounce slip sinker? Does it require a 5/16 ounce slip sinker? In correlation with the line size, do they want 12-pound line or 20-pound line for the rate of fall? And then when you're working that worm, do they want that worm shook in one spot for a long time? Do they want it dead sticking? Do they want it hopped high off the bottom? You got literal 100 different variables just within plastic worm fishing. So you add that variables, the controlled variables of the 100 different aspects of the plastic worm fishing, then you add the controlled variables of your boat positioning, your casting angle, and then you add the uncontrolled variables of the fishing pressure and the weather conditions and the lake conditions. Then you can see how difficult it is to catch bass every single day, because in order to catch bass, you have to hit upon all of those variables, have to line up. The uncontrolled and the controlled variables all have to come in together into correlation for you to catch fish. And on top of that, just the being out in the elements. It's like people don't realize, guys, I have fished with professional athletes. I fished with professional baseball players. I fished with professional football players. I fished with professional golfers. I fished with professional race car drivers. And guys, you know what the common thread, even amongst the guys you think are in good shape, you get out there at daylight and you fish in 20-degree weather or 100-degree weather, in rough water, in wind, standing up in a boat for 12, 14 hours a day, it wears those dudes out. So you have to be conditioned to the elements, because in bass fishing, guys, if you fish all year long, you're going to fish in the heat and the cold and the wind and the sun and the rain. It all adds up. So all of this stuff together, the uncontrolled variables, the weather, the controlled variables, this is what makes bass fishing so difficult. Plus, you're dealing with a creature, a bass, that is unpredictable. It is not a creature you can control. They have a mind of their own. They have an innate intelligence of their own. And this is what makes it so difficult, yet wonderful at the same time. You want it to be difficult. And that's why, guys, I preach against technology and live scope, is because you don't ever want to know everything. You don't ever want it to get easy, because once it gets easy and once you remove the unknown and the mystery away from fishing, you've robbed all of the intrinsic value of what fishing is about. And if you don't understand intrinsic value, guys, you really need to reevaluate your worldview on fishing, because the intrinsic value is where the power lies in fishing. Anything else is just sort of it's been a misguided perception of what bass fishing is. So, guys, just wanted to throw that out there. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll talk later.